This episode of Kayak Bassin is brought to you by Wilderness Systems, makers of the Commander, Ride, and Tarpon series of premium fishing kayaks. For more information, visit wildernesssystemsfishing.com.
So, Bill, I'm at the show. People know that I'm a big fan of yours. People know that I talk about you. And I hear this buzz going around about window painting.
Right.
I'm a big analogy guy. So if you watch the show, you know I'm a big analogy guy. I like to use things to make people be able to understand, relate to it, and remember it. So I'm looking forward to hearing this theory on window painting because I know it's going to be something that makes it really easy for me to use and understand after you break it down.
Right.
So,
well, it came up to, I've been doing this for years. And a lot of this stuff, the hardest part for me is I have so much in my back pocket that I slowly come out with it because I don't want people to truly know. But it's to the point now we're the young guys, we're the teachers. We're trying to give you guys a new way of thinking and a new way of seeing things. So I was approached by a few people at the show, and that's why it's getting around. They're talking about topwater fishing. And you topwater fish just like I do.
I'm a fanatic.
Okay. So on topwater fishing, using a spook, buzz baits, a lot of other stuff. I grew up on it with the big baits, the big swim baits. The thing is, you always heard is, hey, you throw topwater, it's always good to have a little bit of wind, ripple. Well, what have we heard growing up?
We've heard our whole life that creates a little bit of light refraction. It scatters the images above the surface. It makes it harder for the fish to detect you, gives you an opportunity to present to them, makes them focus on the action rather than things happen outside the surface. I'm a big fan of creating my own ripple a lot of times.
Okay.
I take my plastics and trim the tails. I'll go down and do what I call finesse buzzing, or actually our recent segment that we released was talking about buzzing a shad. But I'm interested in hearing your take on this and how you go about approaching the topwater bite.
So, and here's where it kind of started. I grew up in Southern California, super clear water. I mean, some of our visibility in some lakes, 20, 30 foot deep. So I'm going to twist this to you because I'm all about thinking not on just techniques and what we've heard forever, but I always pay attention to what the fish do. So one day I'm out sight fishing. You ever sight fish?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you're sitting there, you're on Lake Champlain, you're on Lake Casitas in California, you're down there in Table Rock. You look 20, 30 feet down, and your buddy goes, hey, you see that bed down there? And you go, yeah. See any fish? And you go, nope, there's not a fish down there. 3 seconds later, you see this. Poof. You see the fish flash, and you go, it was invisible, and next thing you know, it's window pane. It looks like it's in a window. And you're going, there's a fish down there. Instantaneously, we know that there's a fish down there. We start fishing for it. We're the predator going after it. We get the baits down there, make it happen. So I'm sitting there years ago, and I'm going, oh my gosh. I'm doing exactly what that bass is going to do. I'm looking for my prey. I find it. It shows itself by window painting itself. The bottom of the ground is no different than the air on the surface. So next thing you know, you throw a bait on the surface. Well, a lot of people say, hey, you need wind and ripple and all that to do exactly what you're saying. Break up water surface, you hide us, all this other stuff. I'm going to show something on this film real quick. I'm going to take this piece of paper, and the camera is your eye, which is the fish's eye. There's a lure here sitting on the surface. At this angle, you see nothing. Exactly the same thing the fish does. It's looking at, just like we're looking at the fish down there, when they look back up for prey on the surface, they see the same thing. Boat wake comes by, guy goes by 100, 200 yards away, 3 minutes, 40 seconds, it doesn't matter. The wake of the boat starts coming by, and watch what happens. You see nothing, you see the bait, it disappears. You see the bait, it disappears. What happens is now you're window painting that bait at different angles down in the water. So the fish is going to sit there and do this because all of a sudden it's doing side profile shots 360 degrees all the way around. Secret with me with big bait fishing back in the 80s, I'd sit offshore, I'd sit in a float tube, my blow-up boat, I'd wait for the 50-mile-an-hour boats to blow by me, and I'd throw the biggest bait I could in their wake and let it sit there. What happens is that bait did this, the stripers, the largemouth bass, whatever you're doing, they're seeing it at multiple angles. Most fish on top water are still visual fish. The sound and everything else, I don't care about that. When you window pane, you'll bring fish up from 360 degrees all the way around for that. That's the difference. So when you say that, then you're going, wow, that ripple and everything else, it's not about distorting things so they can't see it. It's actually making it a better picture for them to see it at greater distances. So when you start seeing that, that should make you think, holy cow, when I see a fish down there in 30 foot of water and I can't, and then it goes, hello, I'm gone. Hello, I'm gone, but I know it's there. The fish do the same thing on the surface.
And they just track towards the next hello and try to be on time for it.
I've seen it where I've set a cast stake with 20-foot visibility, thrown that out, sitting there flat calm, watching, paying attention. I know I have my rock pile over here. I have some submerged brush over here. I got a little gully there, and I'm just watching. 20-foot visibility. We're in a aquarium. Boat blows by, sit there. The bait starts going like this and picture framing in the water. And I look down there and I see a bass, 10-pounder out of a bush go like this, turn, look, and I watch it start swimming right to the bait. Just wait. When it gets to it, do one directional change, and I got a 10-pounder. I've seen this for 30 years. I've never told anybody, but that was the reason, and that's why we should question. It's nice to hear a lot of stuff, but man, you should really start questioning. It's not what we see, it's not what we think, it's what the fish see and think.
It's all about being the prey.
It is.
We think about being the apex predator when we're out there on the water.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, we're not trying to get that bass to eat us. We're trying to get that bass to eat our lure.
Right.
So we need to be appealing to the bass as the predator by being the prey. When I do my seminars, I close almost all of them up with be the prey, think like the frog, think like the worm, become the presentation that you're making, and that's a perfect example.
Right
Bill,
there.
Thanks for sharing. That's some great insight. Take that into account next time you're out on the water, and I promise you, when you're on those tough days, when you think they're not biting, and the guys back at the boat ramp are going, "Boy, it's a tough day out there today. They just wasn't biting." No, they just wasn't biting your lure. Think about some of the things that Bill said here today. Check out kayakbassfishing.com, and we'll continue this discussion. And man, it's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
For outstanding customer service, expert advice, and all your kayak fishing gear needs, visit Hook One at kayakfishinggear.com.